measuring, so a lot of different wrinkles and angles now.
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
You think he had a chance to win?
Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Terence Crawford are at it again, and this time the tension is even higher than before. The back and forth between these two has been simmering for a while, but Tank's recent comments about Crawford's upcoming fight with Canelo have reignited the fire. Crawford is planning to move up 2 weight classes to face Canelo later this year, a fight that many in the boxing world view as a huge challenge. Gaining 14 pounds to fight a naturally bigger and stronger opponent like Canelo is no easy feat. But Crawford has been clear about why he's taking on this challenge.
You not lead with ego. Like if you hear somebody like Tank say, 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking. You know,
Crawford explained that he wants to challenge himself. Canelo is an incredible fighter, one of the best to come out of Mexico. I'm also one of the all-time greats, so why not test myself against him? History teaches us that big risks come with big rewards, Crawford said. He made it clear that this fight is all about legacy, about testing himself against one of the best in the world. But Tank Davis wasn't convinced. He wasn't impressed by Crawford's reasoning and let everyone know exactly how he felt. According to Tank, Crawford just needs the money.
But you see Crawford now switch.
Staying in somebody's face consistently.
Tank wasn't asking a question or making a guess, he said it like it was a fact. In his mind, the only reason Crawford would take this fight was for the big money. But that wasn't all. Tank didn't just criticize Crawford for chasing money, he went further and threw some serious shade at how Crawford has been looking physically in the ring. He definitely needs the money, I'll give him that. He's a good fighter, sure, but smaller fighters are usually better than bigger ones because they know how to move. But didn't he get caught by Gamboa? How is he looking this strong now? He hasn't been getting hit or anything. That's snack, Tank said. I'm telling you, y'all are laughing, but something's up.
Will sometimes cause them to panic and break. Not really, nothing really.
Nobody asked Lomachenko.
Right. Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that? Oh, Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready.
Tank wasn't just questioning Crawford's strength. He was hinting that something shady might be happening. He brought up Yuriorkis Gamboa, a fighter who once hurt Crawford years ago, and pointed out how strange it was that Crawford had been looking so dominant recently. To make sure everyone understood what he was suggesting, Tank also mentioned snack, sports nutrition and conditioning. Snack has a mixed reputation in boxing, and whenever fighters are linked to it, there are always rumors about performance enhancers and the true legitimacy of their strength. Tank didn't directly accuse Crawford, but he knew exactly what he was doing by bringing it up. He wanted people to question how Crawford has been performing, making them wonder if there was something unnatural about his success.
Jail for it. Talking about Victor Conte. He went to jail, right? Victor Conte? Yeah. And he the owner of the snack shop. And he went to jail for it. Now it's like, you see, I don't want to throw him out of the bus, but you see,
Crawford wasn't about to let that go without a response. He fired back just as strongly, going straight for Tank's ego. He pointed out that Tank talks like he's the best in the sport, but he hasn't even fought the top competition. Crawford made it clear that everyone knows it. Tank hasn't faced the kind of opponents that he has. While Tank is undoubtedly one of the biggest names in boxing, the biggest criticism people have always had about him is the lack of high-level opponents. He hasn't fought Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, or Vasily Lomachenko. These fighters have been calling him out for years, and Crawford made sure to call attention to that fact.
Now Crawford's gonna have to start putting that left hand behind that if he want to detour.
What champ? Come on, man. Tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
All right. Crawford didn't hold back. He took it a step further, making it clear that Tank hasn't been tested in the same way he has. According to Crawford, the only way Tank will learn is if he gets knocked down by an opponent. Crawford wasn't just talking about fights. He was talking about those humbling moments where you're forced to dig deep and face real trouble. Crawford has fought some of the toughest fighters out there. He's been hurt and pushed to his limits, but he's come out on top. Tank, on the other hand, hasn't faced the same kind of challenges. To make his point even stronger, Crawford backed Lamont Roach, the man Tank is about to face. Crawford said Roach is the type of fighter who's got more heart than Tank will ever have.
Can't be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
You got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him come and touch him.
Oh, man.
Crawford didn't just compliment Roach, he used him to take a direct shot at Tank's entire approach to boxing. He pointed out that Lamont Roach, a fighter with far less fame and fewer big paydays, is more willing to take risks than Tank has ever been. That's a criticism that stings because one thing Tank definitely doesn't want is to be seen as someone who plays it safe. Crawford made it clear that Roach doesn't pick his opponents the way Tank does, so Tank shouldn't be quick to accuse others of chasing money.
Gathering the end, Crawford at times lays it out there a little too much.
Sometimes 13 months ago.
Right? I know we last talked Big Bro first to Tank, right? And then, or is it
whoever? I told Tank know what's up. You know what I mean? He know what he up against when he fights Shakur or Keyshawn. You know what I mean? He want to fight these guys that everybody in the world know they ain't gonna give him no fight.
The irony Crawford wanted everyone to see was that while Tank was accusing him of doing everything for money, Crawford flipped it right back at him. He pointed out that it was Tank who was carefully picking his opponents, avoiding the toughest challenges, and making sure every fight was the safest way to cash in. Tank knew exactly what he was doing with those comments. He wanted to control the conversation and make people question why Crawford was taking this fight. He wanted them to wonder if Crawford's motivation was really about legacy or just about the money. By bringing up Snack, Tank aimed to plant doubts about how Crawford has been performing in the ring. But Crawford didn't stay silent. He fired back, hitting Tank where it hurt. And with how things are going, this back and forth is far from over.
A knockout win over Sean Porter.
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terrence Crawford look?
147?
147.
I tapped that chain. You know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
Tank has always marched to the beat of his own drum. While other big names in boxing are chasing huge paydays in Saudi Arabia, Tank is standing strong in the US. He refuses to let outsiders, who in his words don't know anything about the sport, take control. As fighters like Crawford, Canelo, and Benavidez sign deals and fly across the world to fight under the banner of Al Alshik, Tank isn't interested. He's focused on building his own empire, and he's not about to let someone else decide his path. For Tank, it's not just about the money, it's about the integrity of the sport. After seeing what went down at the recent Saudi Arabia card, he's even more sure that staying in the US was the right choice. You guys saw the guy, Al Alshik? Look at the scorecards. That's not just a casual comment, he said.
Comfortable stance, I believe.
Yeah. He's saying his face, so he'll keep.
Davis is calling out something he believes is seriously wrong. During the Carlos Adames vs. Hamza Shiraz fight, Al Alshik was caught on camera standing behind Shiraz's corner, holding up two fingers. Many people think he was signaling that Shiraz needed a knockout to win. Right after that, the fight ended in a very questionable draw, which allowed Adames to keep his WBC middleweight title. The WBC and the British Boxing Board of Control tried to brush it off, saying Al Alshik couldn't have known the scorecards, but Davis isn't buying it. He saw what he saw, and when the sport's biggest figures are willing to ignore it, that only strengthens his suspicions.
Crawford thinking,
that scored as well. That's the only way you can win a fight.
Terrence Crawford is good, but he's not what people make him the same. He's not pound for pound.
Davis has been around long enough to know that corruption, bad decisions, politics, and favoritism are all part of boxing. It's always been like that. But right now, this situation feels different. It feels like one man with unlimited money is taking control of the whole sport, and Davis isn't going to just go along with it. People were saying, we need to get Tank over here for a fight with Shakur. Davis already knows exactly what they want from him. A fight between him and Shakur Stevenson would be massive, one of the biggest events in boxing. But Davis isn't just thinking about the big payday, he's looking at the whole situation. He sees how things are being run over there, and he doesn't like it.
He's
had some knockouts lately, right, Ken?
But this is what David has to do.
What I care about these titles for? You can't eat no belt.
Hey, makeup covers up a lot of imperfections. Matchmaking can do the same thing. What are you scared of? In this sport, it's like your job never done. Anybody could be undisputed in the right fight.
You want me to go sell a title that I didn't work my whole life for, but boxers do that.
How can...
Let's be real, Davis doesn't need to leave the US to be a star. His upcoming fight with Lamont Roach Jr. is expected to break records at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, and it will set the mark for the highest live boxing gate in the NBA arena since his last fight there 3 years ago. He's the biggest draw in the lightweight division, with major fights on the horizon against names like Lomachenko, Stevenson, and Garcia. These are all multi-million-dollar matchups ready to happen. But here's the big question. Will those fights even happen in the US anymore? Right now, Saudi Arabia is taking over the boxing scene. Canelo Alvarez just signed a 4-fight deal with Al-Sheikh, locking him in to fight in Saudi Arabia at least 3 times, even giving up his traditional Cinco de Mayo fight in Las Vegas to fight there instead. Terence Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion, is also set to fight in Saudi Arabia in September. David Benavidez, who previously said he wanted to stay in the US, was seen meeting with Al-Sheikh just days ago. Even Oscar De La Hoya, instead of putting on a big Latino night event in places like Los Angeles, Phoenix, or San Antonio, decided to take his event to Saudi Arabia. The US is slowly losing its hold on big-time boxing, and Davis is one of the last big stars still standing. But here's the thing, not all money is good money. Many fighters don't seem to understand that. Yes, the checks from Saudi Arabia are huge, but what are they really giving up in return? Control over their careers, influence, and the power to make their own decisions. Davis sees exactly what's happening. He's not against fighters getting paid, but he's asking, at what cost? I just don't like how this guy comes into the game and doesn't know anything about the sport, Davis says. And that's where the issue lies. Al-Sheikh isn't a lifelong boxing promoter. He's not a fighter. He's a Saudi government official with deep pockets and a clear mission to turn Saudi Arabia into a global sports hub. He's bringing in boxing legends like Roberto Duran, setting up extravagant fight cards and making moves that traditional promoters would never even dream of. But he's also pushing for fights that don't make sense, like Canelo vs. Crawford, a matchup with a major size disadvantage.
He's going to put himself in this.
Seem to handle it well. He's about as tough as they come.
Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens? Or
Man, I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like I really don't like him. I don't like.
It's not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
I don't like nothing about him.
Canelo is a natural super middleweight who has even fought at light heavyweight. Crawford, despite his incredible skills, is a welterweight. In any other era, this fight wouldn't even be considered. But Al Heyman is making it happen, not because it's good for the sport, but because he has the power to do so. Now, there's talk about him creating entirely new boxing leagues and changing the structure of the sport. He's already supported a WBC league for young fighters, and insiders are saying another league announcement is coming soon. For Davis, this is exactly why he's staying away. He feels the sport is being reshaped by someone who, in his opinion, doesn't understand it. He sees fighters lining up to kiss the ring and chase big paychecks without asking any questions. And Davis is standing his ground, refusing to fall in line.
But Terence Crawford
sent to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it. He said to me, send to me 2 Ferraris to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him,
everyone's heading over there, and Tank keeps hearing people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But Tank feels frustrated because, in his eyes, these people don't truly understand the sport. How can they say they're going to do something when they don't have the knowledge to back it up? Tank sees the biggest names in boxing selling out, and no one's questioning if it's really good for the sport. The reality is, Davis is in a unique position. He's one of the few fighters who can afford to take a stand. Most boxers don't have the luxury of turning down massive paydays. But Davis is different. He's already one of the highest paid athletes in the world. He sells out arenas, his pay-per-views are huge.
Is he having some success?
David, he said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
He has a clear vision. He wants to be the face of boxing in America. He aims to keep the sport thriving in cities like Las Vegas, New York, and Los Angeles. He wants the biggest fights to happen right here on home soil, not halfway across the world under conditions he doesn't trust. That's why his fight against Roach Jr. is so important. It's not just about defending his title, it's about showing that boxing in the US is still strong. He wants to prove that a fighter can become a massive star without having to take money from Saudi Arabia. He believes there's still a future for American boxing. But once this fight is over, what comes next?
If not, y'all gonna give it to him. So that's what made me like, oh yeah, I see what's going on. So now, give me 2 or 4 or 3 Ferraris. If not, ain't no point in me going over there for. Y'all got the money to do it.
Right. 2, 3, 4 Ferraris. Because I heard you said 2X.
Terrence Crawford doesn't view Gervonta Davis as just another fighter. He doesn't see him as just another champion or a name in the sport. To Crawford, Davis represents something much deeper, something personal. It's not about competition, weight classes, or pound-for-pound rankings. It's about the kind of person Davis is, and that's where Crawford draws the line. When asked about it during his interview with Cigar Talk, Crawford didn't hold back. There is no beating around the bush, no political answers, and no pretending to show respect. He made it clear he does not like Gervonta Davis.
Those circumstances. Avenesian is the kind of guy who exposes those fake punches.
Crawford, he always makes adjustments. Every time he take a big punch, he takes
position. Avenesian not really shooting.
I mean, I was advised that. When my judge told that was the first time I've been, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
obviously, Drake and Kendrick, nigga, that's the hottest shit in the culture right now. Drake and Kendrick went at it. Everybody talking about it. When you listen to these records, what you feel like? How you who's winning? Like what Tank is listening to right now?
I ain't listen to it.
It's not about anything Davis has personally done to Crawford, but more about who Davis is, how he carries himself, and what Crawford sees as a false sense of arrogance that's protected by fame, money, and bodyguards. Man, I just really don't like that guy. I don't like him at all. I don't like anything about him. That's not a fighter talking about a future opponent or trying to hype up a potential fight that may never happen. That's real personal dislike. It's rare to hear a fighter speak so honestly about someone, especially when they're not even in the same weight class. But that's just how Crawford is. He speaks his mind and doesn't pretend to respect someone just because they're in the same profession.
And underneath those circumstances, Avenesian is the kind of guy who exposes those fake punches.
Crawford.
I just don't like how this guy come in the game and he don't know nothing about the sport. Like, he don't know nothing about the sport. Like, everybody going on like he wasn't even picking, like at first he wasn't even picking people that know stuff about the sport. And he was just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do this,
To Crawford, Davis is a fighter who thrives on his public image, a superstar who plays up the tough guy persona. But Crawford believes Davis wouldn't act the same way if he didn't have security or cameras following him around. For Crawford, it's not about Davis's skills in the ring. He gave him credit for that. It's about his attitude, his behavior, and how he acts when he's not in the gym or under the spotlight. Of course, Davis didn't take these comments lightly, and as soon as Crawford's words hit social media, Davis responded with a post that was just as direct. But in typical Tank style, the post didn't stay up long. It was deleted almost immediately after being posted. That's how Davis operates. He takes shots, then pulls back, leaving just enough for people to talk about, but not enough to keep the conversation going forever.
He always makes adjustments. Every time he take a big punch, he takes
position. Avenesian not really.
Are you just not interested in fighting over there?
It's not that, but they came at me wrong the first time they ever came at me, which they said I will fight Devin. And then when he was saying like Devin was his guy. So I'm like, if Devin your guy, y'all gotta pay me.
Even though the post is no longer online, the tension between them is clear. This isn't the first time they've had issues. Their history of going back and forth online is well known, and there's always been some underlying hostility whenever one talks about the other. But this time, Crawford took things further than just Twitter posts and Instagram comments. He laid it all out in a full interview. He made it clear that this wasn't just about boxing or competition, this was personal. And that's before even touching on the other issue between them, Shakur Stevenson. If there's anything that's going to make this rivalry even more heated, it's the way Crawford sees a potential fight between Davis and Stevenson.
Every time he take a big punch, he takes
position. Avenesian not really choosing southpaw.
Shakur against Tank.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you and Canelo Alvarez were not on the same page last year. Now you are. Gervonta Davis, you're giving an invitation to Gervonta Davis.
I don't take anything as a personal. I take it as I am professional.
Right.
Shakur Stevenson is someone close to Crawford. They've known each other for years, and it's no secret that Crawford has been mentoring him, guiding him, and watching his career grow with pride. So, when the topic of a possible fight between Stevenson and Davis came up, it was clear who Crawford was supporting. But it wasn't just about loyalty. Crawford didn't say Stevenson would win simply because they're friends. He explained why he believes Stevenson is the better fighter. Crawford said, "We're going to leave personalities and personal stuff out of it, but when it comes to boxing, Stevenson is on a whole different level. He's got the talent, he's respected in the sport, and he's a unique fighter."
Yeah. Class fighter, and if you ain't in the A class,
adjustments. He switched the
If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your fucking neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it. And I'm not talking about no fighting in the ring.
If me and you was to fight outside, I would.
He never said that Davis isn't a great fighter or downplayed his skills. What he did say is that Davis has never faced anyone like Shakur Stevenson. He pointed out how people once called Floyd Mayweather boring and questioned his power, just like they do with Stevenson. But Floyd was a defensive expert, and in Crawford's view, Stevenson has that same kind of style. The key is that Davis won't be able to land his punches on Stevenson the way he does with other opponents.
And he'll open him up. So it's going to be up to Avanesyan to not just bring this kind of pressure, but also for...
Hopefully I fight Ryan again. If they're not on some whole shit, I text that ass again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. Know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, yeah, niggas start talking that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it.
This isn't the first time people have said he would struggle against a slick, technical boxer. Similar comments were made before he fought Hector Luis Garcia and before his fight with Ryan Garcia. In both of those cases, people predicted trouble, but he ended up stopping both opponents. What do you think of Crawford's comments? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.